Hi again. I think I wasn't explaining it right. What I was trying to say is, in the time period that I was a kid in, and then an adolescent, we would travel to go see my mom. She lived in Florida, and then we lived in the Midwest, and so we would go often because she was always in trouble. She was always getting arrested. She was always in court. She was always doing something destructive. My grandmother had got her a small house, and the neighbors, my grandmother gave them some kind of small salary to check on my mom and call us when things went wrong. And she would, I remember one year I guess she had some kind of fit, and she just, like, I don't know, she took a broom or stick or what she did, but she, like, broke all the window glass panes out of these French doors, and she had all these, like, random stray pets, like all these small cats, and then none of them had been to a vet or had any shots or anything. And then she had rabbits, and they would, like, poop all over the house, and, like, if we hadn't been there in, like, a few months, we'd have to spend all the time, like, cleaning up all the glass, cleaning up all the damage from the pets and all their disgusting litter and all that. She hadn't done it the whole time, and I mean, like, all her pans would be corroded with oil. I don't know how she didn't set the whole place on fire. And we would just spend the whole time doing dishes. Like, my grandmother would, like, call the judge. There were, all this stuff we had to do. And meanwhile, while we were doing that, she would be, like, walking around, like, just really either she was glad we were seeing her because we were giving her money and taking her out on drives because she lost her license, or she'd be really pissed and she didn't want us to be there, and she was busy, like, with her hallucinations, and she would get really mad if you were there then. And she just had, like, a very, like, sometimes almost seemed like a different voice when she talked. Like, she had kind of a high voice, but then when she would talk, sometimes it didn't even sound like her. And then when she would get, like, furious, and she would, I felt like she would hunt me down. She was always after me, specifically. I guess, I don't know if it's because I was the smallest one, or she had some sort of problem with me. I was the only child. I don't know. She was afraid to do it as much to my grandmother because my grandmother, gave her money. So maybe she didn't want, it was just like, okay, you're incoherent enough to not know your child's name, but you're coherent enough to know who to attack. I don't like, whatever. So it would seem like when she would physically, like, go after me, like, it would seem like she had, like, supernatural strength. Like, she would just, I've seen it before when I did worked in the healthcare field, and I don't want to give any details, but just say that I worked psychiatric facility, and there would be definitely people, if they were on bath salts or some like unknown drug that they were maybe coming off of, or drug-induced psychosis, and many times they would have that kind of same demeanor where it's like they were not, it wasn't, I mean, I'm just gonna say it wasn't human. It was something else. And I say that as somebody who is not really, I haven't really been into this kind of thing. I mean, I've always been into like mythology heavily, and heavily into the Bible stories, but in terms of like believing in like demons walking the planet, or like, you know, like all this kind of stuff, or like, I mean, I've always just thought like zombie apocalypse movies and stuff like that's like a bunch of makeup and it's fake. But I must tell you for real that the people I've seen, and I've seen a lot because I had a very serious drug addiction when I was living on the Lower East Side of New York in my early 20s, and also in San Francisco. And that would be like that. I didn't live in this area, but we would go to like the Tenderloin district when I was really addicted. And it's a horrible part of San Francisco. Anyway, the people that I witnessed, and that's, you know, that's been like 25, 30 years ago. So there wasn't any of these kind of drugs that they have now. But even seeing some of the behavior of people who were desperate for money to get their next fix, or maybe involved in a lot of prostitution, or I don't know, just a lot of seedy robbery schemes. They're just a bunch of crap. I mean, not people that I was with, but we would move in these circles because those were the people who had access to hard drugs, because I was addicted to heroin at the time. Even then, before there were the crazy drugs they have now, or you can watch these shows where they have people you just walk down the street and people are like convulsing and like stuff coming out of their mouth, and they're just like completely making, like, the people that I saw who were, I think, possessed by some kind of dark force beyond drug addiction, beyond whatever they were putting in themselves, beyond whatever horrible, terrible things they were involved to get the money to do those things. Beyond all that, like the way their bodies would twitch, the way that their eyes would be like dead eyes, or the way that their bodies would move, it was not of humanity. It was something else. And I mean, I haven't really talked about this much because I have a lot of shame around the years where I was an addict. I mean, I had to go through 2 rehabs to get over it, and I've heard I was very lucky. And anyway, my mom, she would have, like I said, like this supernatural strength. Like she would just launch at me, and it was like she would monitor everywhere I was in the house as a kid. And I would try to hide under tables, I would hide in closets, I would hide anywhere I could. I would run outside in the backyard and hide behind, you know, trash containers. I would do anything to get away from her. And it was like, she always could just sort of, it's like she had like some kind of vision where she knew exactly where I was, even though like, I don't see how, because it was so tiny. I would like get in the tiniest crevices and I would run so fast, but it was like, she just knew, and she would just come after me. And it's like she just had like this relentless pursuit. I guess that would be how I would describe it. Like she was going to attack me and tear me apart or whatever, like no matter what. And it was like nothing would stop her. Like once a couple of these huge men, like just like the movies, came and for the mental hospital with a stretcher, and they put her in a straitjacket, like in front of me. I think I was 11, and I mean, it was one of the most frightening things I've ever seen. And like all the neighbors in all the houses, instead of helping us, two elderly ladies and a kid, and ask us if we needed anything, or how could they help us, all they did is just stand on their lawns and just watch us like we were like a tabloid, live streaming. And it was just the most humiliating thing. And to see my mom, put in restraints in front of me, and she's like frothing at the mouth and saying all these bizarre, swear word. I mean, like stuff I like literally never ever heard her say. It was terribly frightening. And then that incident was the worst because she got a hold of me that time that they came in. I've said this in another video, but like she kicked the shit out of me. She ripped me out of this closet that I was hiding in, and I went through 2 closets to get away from her, and she just dragged me out, and then she just started kicking the shit out of me and calling me scum of the earth, and just, I thought she was gonna not kill me, but like break my legs, or like she was like a demon. She was possessed. I don't know what else to say about it. Like, that was not like her normal mentally ill, violent, schizophrenic crap. That was like something else. It was like she was different in a way that time. And the other worst time I had with her, well, actually it wasn't with her. It was when I was taken away to live with my grandparents, or maybe I was visiting them, and I was up in my grandmother's bed by myself. I think I was 5, and everybody was downstairs, my grandparents and like my uncle, and I could hear them talking in the kitchen through the air vents. I could hear them chatting, and I was supposed to be either napping or going to bed. I'm not sure which, because I usually would, I don't know why I was in my grandmother's bed. But anyway, there was something that made me turn and look in the window, and it was like, it was almost like something was forcing me. And when I looked in the window, it was like some kind of like crouching. It was like a witch or like some kind of goblin, I don't know. And it was like huddled in the window, and it was just staring right at me. And I tried to scream and call for my family, and I tried to scurry out of the bed and get out of the room, but I had like sleep paralysis, which I only had like one other time when I had like a COVID shot, but it's not something that I normally have, though I do have sleep problems. But anyway, and at that moment, I felt like it had come from my mom. Like it was my mom staring through that thing, whatever it was. And like, she just wanted to let me know that like, even if I wasn't in her house, even if I wasn't, near her physically, like, she had her eyes on me, and she could do something horrible to me. I don't know what. Like, she could hurt me, suffocate me, do something if she wanted to. And I just couldn't scream. I couldn't move my arms or legs. All I could do is move my neck. And I don't know what happened after that. I think I fell asleep or passed out or something like that. And I think that incident I did tell my grandparents, but normally I don't think I told them the part where I thought it was something about my mom, because I didn't want to get them all upset because it was their daughter. And that was a time where I felt like there was something demonic that I didn't understand why wanted me dead. I did not understand why, but I knew it had to do with her, or whatever was controlling her, or whatever was wrong with her.